Hello my crochet friends! Today I'm going to teach you how to do cross-stitch tapestry on crochet, and I know there are other ways to do tapestry, but they get too confusing for me and the yarn gets tangled pretty easily, so I prefer this method. I will also try to bring a new tutorial every week for free on my channel, so please subscribe if you like my work. It really helps me out a lot. Let's start by creating our design. I use a free app called Pixel Studio, but you can also do it on graph paper or find an image on Pinterest to copy. I have an album with some ideas and I'll leave the link in the description. The only important thing that you need to know when creating your design is that the number of squares corresponds to the number of stitches you'll need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 pixels. And here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 stitches. I'm going to use this satisfying painting video to let you know that I've created an art channel where you can relax while I draw and paint. The link is in the description. Let's start with the base of our tapestry. Begin by making a chain with the number of stitches you need for your design to fit. In my case, it's 19 stitches. Stitch 1, turn your work, and now single crochet, but instead of inserting the hook from the top and pulling the yarn through, we'll insert it from underneath. It's easier to understand when you see it, but that's the only difference from a normal single crochet. So this way is how a normal single crochet is done. We don't want that, we want here. Keep making this different single crochet until the end of the row. Now on the next row, I personally don't chain one because I think it makes the sides straighter in the end, but if you prefer, you can do it. So turn your work, chain one if you'd like, and keep making the different single crochet as I taught you. Turn your work and do exactly the same thing. Continue making these single crochets until you have the number of rows needed for your design. Each row of stitches corresponds to each row of pixels. You should end up with something like this. I did more rows than needed for my design just because I like how it looks. I like to start cross-stitching with the outline, but you can choose any color you prefer to begin with. One tip I have is to pick a color that doesn't belong to your design and use it to mark the squares, pixels that are already done so you don't get confused during the process. I want to start with the color black, so I'll cut a bit of yarn and thread it onto my yarn needle. Since my black yarn is thinner than other colors that I'll be using in this design, I'll double it to make it more similar in thickness. Now it looks very similar to my red yarn. To help you understand a bit more about how this works, it's important to notice the pixels when you look at your crochet. You will see some lines in your project, and between them there are two squares. Stretching your crochet can make it easier to see the squares if you need to. You should be able to see these holes in the corners of your squares. That's where we're going to insert our needle to make a cross. Here's a representation of where I would insert my needle, but I'll show it again later. I wanted to look like Hello Kitty's holding Spider-Man's hand, so I decided to start my pixel art there to ensure it's exactly where it should be, but you can choose any pixel in your design to start with. You need to leave a bit of yarn underneath to make sure it doesn't come loose, and then you just start making the crosses as I showed on a paper, one diagonal first and then the other. Don't forget to mark the pixel you've done so you don't get confused later, and that's it. Now just keep doing the same thing for the other pixels. Now that my yarn is small, I will weave it in and start with a new yarn strand. Now we can start by weaving in our new yarn strand so it doesn't move, and then continue with the pixels. Keep creating pixels and I'll be back once the black and white yarn is done to show you how I use the thickest yarn, red and blue. Since the red yarn is so thick, I only need one strand of it. I will thread it onto my needle, but won't tie a knot at the end. It will stay loose like this. I will then weave it in, make a knot just to make sure it's secure, and continue with the pixels. It looks so adorable, but now to finish, just like always, you need to weave in the yarn, but since it's so tight now, I don't even feel the need to make a knot. And that's how you do cross stitch on crochet. I hope you like this video, and as always, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments, and either I or someone else watching this video will do our best to help you. If you like this content, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye!